Good morning, traders, friends, fans, family, followers from around the world, fellow life enrichers. How's everyone doing on this terrifically tantalizing Tuesday? Benny says he's doing all good. Mr. David is excited. Noah says he likes the beard. Thanks, man. I'm going on a snowboard ski trip this weekend in Salt Lake City. I think we're going to Park City or Snow Basin. I can't remember right now, but that's why I'm growing out the beard. New RL shirt for a new day. I got one in every color, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to pick up an RL t-shirt at some point. If you need a link, let me know. Carrie, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're doing great. Tom says hi from England. Juan says good morning, mate. What's going on, bud? Craig Heath says morning, one and all. Good morning, kind sir. Graham Cohen says good morning. Bob C. in the building. Jason says he's rocking his RL t-shirt this morning as well. That means we're going to have a winning day, Jason. That's what that means, man. I love it. Penny says good evening from Australia. Thank you for being here, Penny. I appreciate it. Samuel says good morning, folks. Good morning, Samuel. We are printing something. I don't know what we're printing, but it's happening. Daniel has raised his hand. What's going on, buddy? Greg says, I have my Invest in Yourself hoodie. I love it. By the way, Greg, I don't know if you got a chance to check out RLT's Facebook page, but you should check that out. I think you'll like it. All right. So for all the ladies and children in the building, let me turn off this webcam so that no one gets scared or terrified or loses out of their appetite for breakfast or dinner. Jim says, I love your candlesticks in the background. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that, Mr. Philman. Steve says, are you on the treadmill again? Yes, sir. Always on the treadmill. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do, just like yesterday, is dive in and kind of give you some ideas of what to look at, why to look at it, where to look at it, and all that kind of good stuff. One thing that does occur pretty frequently is when you are a part of real life trading, you're going to get access to this Slack channel. And the Slack channel only has 233 people in it right now. I would love to see that get to 400 one day. That's really one of my goals. I think we can grow it. I think that we have the opportunity to get together and learn and grow and help each other out. But bottom line, the amount of ideas and gaps that can come from this channel alone. In fact, I posted a really good article about an hour ago that a lot of people are reading right now, but also just in regards to good swing trades and day trades, we have a futures channel for all my traders who trade futures. We have a crypto channel. For anyone who does algo trading, we have an algo channel. Obviously, this is the internal. And we have a fantasy football page, when fantasy football gets going. But this is one of my good friends and traders who lives in China just posted a gap list. And we do this pretty much daily, where he or Robert Falco or Thomas Wong or one of our other great traders will post some of their stocks that they're looking at and some of the stocks that they think is really interesting. And I think this is a super, super useful and valuable addition of real life trading, just being a part of able to log in this and kind of see it and feel it and understand it and kind of interpret what you're finding. And right, you can go through this list and track down one or two that you want to do. So here's what we're going to do first. Very first thing that I do is I look at the broader market and I just see what is the broader market doing. And yesterday in the afternoon swing trading room, I wrote down that it was my thought and intention that we'd most likely gap up tomorrow and have a little bit of a small bullish day. So far, it seems like that's going to try to take place. We are up about 0.5%. And if I go over here to the futures, the E-minis, for those of you who trade it, here's kind of what you're looking at right now, is you kind of have a little bit of a bullish candle coming in so far today, which again could be a recipe for this, which seems most likely just because of how high we are, or exactly like we got over here. So one of those two things are going to happen. This is either just going to be a beautiful bounce and we're going to go higher and keep crushing it, or we're going to have a little bit of a retracement and eventually roll over. I really don't know which one's going to happen. I'm going to be playing the bullish one because that's the trend. So I'll be looking at mostly playing something bullish if given the opportunity to do so. But if we get a rollover, I'll be able to, flip, go bearish, and take advantage of it that way. So the market, bottom line, is up small. We are gapping up small. So what I would like is to find some things that are gapping down. Again, just something that's totally against the broader market. That's kind of what I want to focus on, is the stocks that are gapping down, and track and trade and see what those are doing. So here we go. Here's some gap downs based on this list. First I want to look at is NVC. This one's down 20% according to David's list, and it's one of these really weird low flow kind of crazy looking stocks. Don't even know how to pronounce that. Yeah, I won't be playing that one, most likely because you can't short it anyway, and it's just not going to really be valuable to even focus our time and attention on. So here's Harley Davidson, HOG. So Harley Davidson is gapping down. Now this is a blue chip stock. So what I mean by blue chip stock is it pays dividends. It's been around forever. People love buying Harley Davidson. Although I've never owned the stock personally, and I'm not personally a huge motorcycle fan, mostly because I have terrible balance, I feel like this is going to be an okay gap, one that probably fades a little bit. I am going to put on my list, I'm going to watch it, but the line that I just drew, ladies and gentlemen, comes from this support over here. That's the candle and the price that I dictated and discerned to draw my line from. And then you can see it just kind of coincided nicely with that candle, and some of this candle. And we've already traded down into that price point, and they're kind of bouncing around. So here's the 5-minute chart. I'm going to turn extended hours on, and you can see we've already kind of bounced around there. So sure, I'm going to put Harley Davidson on my list, but I'm just not blown away. It's a good gap down, but it's a blue chip stock. It's gapping into a support. It's down 6%. We could short it. Maybe if we get a good opportunity to play it short, I'll see if I can find something. I'm just not blown away by that gap on Harley Davidson. Because again, one thing that you want to practice, and this will take time, but for day traders, if you're looking at gaps, one of the things that's going to take a little bit of time is just to get a sense of what it's going to do. You almost want to be able to look at the chart and feel immediately, oh man, this stock is about to do X, Y, Z. You want to be able to look at that and feel it. I don't feel that on Harley Davidson. So again, I'm most likely not going to trade it. And I'm going to put MKC on the list. This is one that's being thrown in the chat pane. McCormick and Company. So this is the spice company that's probably in your spice rack somewhere. So McCormick, also a dividend-paying company. All right, it's been around for what people refer to as forever. This is the monthly chart. What trend is McCormick in right now? So McCormick, pretty bullish trend, I would argue. And we are gapping down. It is a pretty decent gap down, but we could assume that eventually this gap down is going to get bought and McCormick is going to go higher. I don't know if it's going to be today or later, but I do kind of like the gap. It is a relatively nice gap down. What we're looking at right here is the 100 and 200 simple. So a lot of times I will start my analysis with these two lines on the daily chart just to kind of help me with what is the big picture trend, what have we been doing over the last few days and weeks, and how can we kind of progress from here. So I'm thinking with this particular move, it is a decent gap down. You can see right now before market open, we're gapping down at 162, down 6%. So if we're down that far, I'm assuming we could trade down a little bit lower and then maybe get some bounces off of 160.31. You can actually already see some of the interaction and some of the movement that we have already with that particular price. So we are getting some buying off that price. We are getting some bouncing. It's worth me putting on the list. And again, that's most likely going to be a fade. That's what I'm going to kind of watch it for. Now, this is really important to understand. I had a lot of traders ask me yesterday, Jeremy, what happens if a stock doesn't fade? What if it just does this all day? Well, the answer is quite simple. If that happens, then I just end up missing all of the trade and I don't trade it that day. And then I'll come back to it tomorrow in hopes of, well, that it kind of continues, right? So anyway, that can certainly happen. It's a very valid question, but it's just one that, I don't really stress about too much. Okay, so coming back over to here, BWA and then DDD. So let me go look at BWA. BWA, Borg-Warner. So this stock's been around for an eternity. It is a white candle gapping down. It doesn't look like it's gapping down. Auto part maker is to buy Delphi Technologies in a $3.3 billion deal. Interesting. So they're actually spending money on a company. Now, that should make relative sense, ladies and gentlemen, right? If a company spends $3 billion on buying a company, their stock usually goes down. That's pretty much all across the board forever. It's a little bit of a tip, right? Think about it in your household, right? If you spent $3 billion on rebuilding your massive mansion, your income would go down, right? That's money that you're spending. So they're buying a company. That doesn't mean that they can't be traded. It just means that it's going to be a good gap down. It is gapping down. It's gapping down 7%. It's probably worth watching. But again, a lot of people might say, well, it's gapping down. I'm going to look for a long opportunity. I want to buy it because I think that this is a good thing that they are buying another company. I think it's a wise decision that they're doing that. So this thing probably does something like this, and we'll see if we can catch it. Again, I'll put it on the list. We'll find out. But they are buying a company, BWA gapping down. Another one, 3D printing, and then we're going to look at 3M. So DDD and then MMM. DDD is gapping down 6% to 1040. This is going to trap a whole heap ton of people. Whole heap ton of people, myself included. I have some shares of 3D printing. So this is going to trap some people. I like this gap the best so far for the day already. Pretty strong bearish gap down. So 3D Systems, decent move. Peter says, will you discuss Apple earnings trading? Did you get a chance, Peter, to watch yesterday's afternoon swing trading room where I covered Apple's earnings and my thoughts on it? If you didn't, let me know. I'll be happy to send you that recording. He says, yes. Cool deal. So when it happens, I will definitely be watching the gap on Apple. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rosa says, how do you plan to trade 3D printing? So Rosa, if you give me about 20 seconds, I will tell you. I just pulled it up. So here it goes. My plan on 3D is bearish. You have a very nice high wave candle right here, and I'll be looking for 3D to retest and then roll over. It's a retest gap after all, so it would make sense for it to retest and then potentially go lower. It's a decent gap down. It is gapping into a little bit of a bullish trend. So here's some moving averages. So the moving averages, there's a 20 EMA at 1057. So that's probably where I'm going to attempt to try to short 3D printing at some point later in the day, around that 20 EMA. And it just seems like 3D printing is going to try to pull back a little bit after its really, really strong run up. The other thing that occurred on 3D printing, of course, is the fact that it did indeed trade right into the 100 simple moving average on a weekly chart. And it had a retest gap, a really large retest gap on a weekly chart. So it actually makes sense that this thing is going to gap down and retest that. So I'm going to watch 3D pretty closely so far. Favorite gap of the day. 3M. So the thing is, what's really interesting is we all played 3M bullish yesterday and we lost. We lost 1R on 3M. Well, now it's gapping down again. So they had earnings. They are losing on earnings again for the fourth time in a row, and we're gapping down on 3M. The small challenge is, again, it is a blue chip stock, right? So 3M is a blue chip company, bearish candle gapping down into the long-term moving averages, and it could bounce. It could bounce. So I will put it on the list. I might try 3M again, although I lost on it yesterday. I might keep an eye on playing it again. Realistically, I'm going to watch, if I'm going to play 3M, I'm going to watch for something like this and see if I can get some type of trap and play it off of the long-term averages, right? Looking at potentially buying a dip. Now, this was a very popular stock yesterday that a few traders made some serious money on, Beyond Meat. And Beyond Meat is actually gapping down an extremely small amount right now. But the trend still looks pretty good. All right, trend's relatively bullish. We are kind of gapping down some. If I turn the extended hours off, I'm kind of interested just to keep an eye on Beyond Meat to see what it's going to do. So I'm going to throw that on the list because it was exciting yesterday. Tesla, right, TSLA is gapping up again to 568. The high of yesterday was 564. So the interesting thing is Tesla could easily continue higher. A lot of you might say, no way. Well, it's very, very possible. Earnings are coming up. We talked about yesterday, if you are looking at playing a trade on Tesla, you could play a bearish position, buying a long put and getting into a bear call spread, or buying a long put and selling a put against it, mostly because the call options are just so expensive. Call options are quite pricey on Tesla, meaning a lot of people think Tesla's going to gap up and continue higher, which it very well could on earnings. I do think Tesla will fade the gap after earnings. So I think it's going to, if it gaps up on earnings, it's going to trade down. And if it gaps down on earnings, it's going to trade higher. But either way, extremely strong trend. And me personally, the only thing I'm going to do on Tesla is keep my put sales alive and just kind of let the trade, let the chart do its thing. But for today, we could be extremely bullish on Tesla. It's a really nice gap up, probably my second favorite gap of the day, and I would expect it to just more or less continue. Another one that I mentioned I was going to look at yesterday was Roku. So Roku is gapping up. It's not gapping above the high of yesterday, but it is gapping. So this is the 5-minute chart on Roku, and this is the high of yesterday right here. So we're gapping approximately right here. So it's not quite above the high of yesterday, but it is a gap up. And I mentioned yesterday afternoon and yesterday morning that it makes a lot of sense for Roku to eventually trade back up into 133. So if that's the case, I'm going to kind of put Roku on the list to see if we can trade a little bit of an aggressive counter trend bullish play on Roku. Right? So we will see. We'll see if it does anything interesting. So I'm going to throw that one on the list. Robert wants to look at XLRN. Acceleron Pharmaceutical gapping up, 50%. No big deal. Acceleron stock soars on lung trial data. Do you guys say data or data? Which one is what you go with? I like to think I say data. I don't think I say data. So here's what's interesting on Acceleron. It was actually at $100 earlier this morning, and now it's at 78. So it sold off a lot. I will put it on the list. It most likely would be a fade. It doesn't seem like it's a buyout, but I can tell you all right now that I do not personally buy a stock if it's gapping up 48% after hours. So yeah, I'll probably most likely look to fade this or just not play it at all. All right. So I'll look at 2 or 3 more stocks and then we'll just pretty much dive in. Starbucks, SBUX, is gapping up very small. You had a high wave candle. I talked about Starbucks yesterday in the afternoon room on earnings, and I think This is quite a delicious gap on Starbucks. RD says, how are you finding these gaps? So RD, I am reading the chat pane, the same one you just typed your question into. People are just throwing these in the chat pane, so I'm just reading them. Again, so what's really cool about being part of a community, you get hand-picked trades that you can look at and verify if you like them or not. So I hope that helps, RD. So anyway, Starbucks, great gap, high wave candle, and it's gapping above the high of yesterday. This is a really good gap, and this is probably my second or third favorite gap of the day. I'm gonna put this pretty high on the list because honestly, if it can trade sideways for like a minute or two, I'd be pretty inclined to take a breakout on that. It's a nice gap. I do like it. So Starbucks looking pretty cute. I have someone requesting AMD. AMD's up 1%. The high of yesterday, 49.79, and AMD is gapping above the high of yesterday. So again, we have a lot of these stocks that are gapping above yesterday's high. I do certainly think that they can continue higher. So if you have a stock that had a little bit of a bearish move yesterday and you're gapping above the high of yesterday's high, I think that we can go up, honestly. Micron Technology, pretty much the same thing. It's gapping above the high. So Micron looks good. I mean, AMD and Micron usually track each other pretty well. I'll be happy to put them on the list. They track each other really, really well. So keeping an eye on AMD, Micron, all those are gonna, like I said, trade pretty simultaneously. They're gonna look a lot alike. So that's pretty much what I got. Jim Philman says, what are your thoughts on WIN? So WIN, we looked at this one a whole lot yesterday, and it's gapping up very small, up to 125.60. And again, earnings are just a few days away on WIN. So you probably don't want to necessarily be in a position over earnings on WIN unless it's with shares or some type of really long-term call option. So it looks good, man. I mean, buying down here, I had a trader request a video just for him on WIN and Las Vegas Sands. And my analysis was buy some shares. It's a great location to be long. Just tiptoe in at this location because you're bouncing off of so many long-term averages. So if you're looking at playing at bullish, Jim, thumbs up, man. But again, just keep in mind earnings is around the corner. And as earnings gets closer, the implied volatility should increase. If the implied volatility increases, then you should be able to sell it for a higher price than you bought it. Again, NVIDIA, almost exactly like the other ones, AMD and Micron. It's a gorgeous candle, and it is gapping above the high. So it's gapping above the high of yesterday. So long story short, my friends, if we get a good bullish pop early this morning on pretty much the market in general, I would kind of expect a nice little bullish flush to go higher because the trend is bullish out there in the market. Right? The trend is bullish. So we have that to consider. LK. So LK is also gapping up 4%, right? It's not quite gapping above the high of yesterday, but we did sell an option on it. And as LK kind of calms down and chills out, it should be pretty good. I could say on LK with this particular put sale that I think that's going to be a very high probability put sale, and you can probably buy it back at some point in the near future. But you did have a decent bearish day on LK yesterday, and we are slightly gapping up today. The big challenge on LK is you just have a really kind of a rock solid resistance right here. So if you're playing LK, you probably have to wait for it to break above, retest, and then get in. I'll put it on another list. I know all of you like to trade LK, or a lot of you like to trade LK pretty frequently. So I'll write it down. I'm sure we're going to come back to it. I just don't know if I'm going to trade it right now. By the way, everyone, if you can do me a small favor and change your webinar settings to all panelists and attendees. Otherwise, only I will be able to see your message. So if you want other people to know that you exist, feel free to throw that in there and make that change. Okay. So let me go look at Twitter and Caterpillar, because I talked about yesterday afternoon that I would do that. Let me pull this up really quick. So Twitter, yep, this could be a really nice one as well. So again, it doesn't really look all that assuming, but this is just simply one that I mentioned yesterday afternoon in the swing trading room that I wanted to keep an eye on Twitter as a potential bullish continuation. So I will. All right, cool. So that's all the gaps I'm gonna put on the list right now, my friends. Obviously, there's about 7,800 stocks out there in the market, and I could technically put every single one of them on a watch list, and we could watch every one of them and do nothing all day. Tons of good gaps out there. There's really good opportunities in the market every single day, ladies and gentlemen. Every day, there's tons of gaps. If I watch everything, I watch nothing, right? If I have every stock out there and I'm looking at every single position and everything's moving, I'm not going to be able to catch them all. This is like Pokemon, right? You cannot catch them all. So I'm trying to watch one or three that I like a lot. And I'll kind of go sort through those now. I like 3D. I like Tesla. I like Twitter. I like Starbucks. Beyond Meat is interesting. Roku is interesting. XLRN is kind of interesting. And AMD and Micron, again, they're very nice. They're really good gaps. They are very nice gaps. Annie says, Jeremy, the sign of a consummate businessman is one who recognizes something could use some tweaking and takes action. Thank you so much for listening and adjusting the time to Eastern Standard that is normally used. This may be better for your international students as well. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Miss Annie. My pleasure. You are welcome. I listen. I listen to people's feedback and I take action. I try to make this program a really exciting, great program. All right, cool. So again, that's the list that I got right now. The rest of the stocks that you guys are all throwing in the chat pane, I'm just going to have to look at some other point in time later today. Because right now what I'm doing is I'm putting these stocks on my screens on my other computer so I can have them in front of me and kind of keep an eye on them that way as well. And then the market opens in 3 minutes. So again, at this particular point in time, if I can't take advantage of one of these opportunities, which would be kind of rare, I think I probably could. But if I can't take advantage or find a trade on any of these, then I will go and search and hunt for some other trades that you are all throwing out in the chat pane. But I think with this particular list, having some gap ups, having some gap downs, having some possible fades, it's a decent list, and I think we have an opportunity to take advantage of at least one of these trades and hopefully make a small gain. That's going to be pretty sweet. Tammy says, what is the list again? The list is right here. It is on the screen, my dear, right in front of you. Boom, boom, boom. That is it. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, let me add MKC over here. MKC, all right, got it. What else do I want to add? Beyond Meat over here on this screen, perfect. Okay, cool. Let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Market opens in 50 seconds. And again, you are more than welcome, my friends, to post a trade that you are taking, and I'll be happy to look at it if you take your trade. The way that we like to do it is we like to post the numbers of the trade, or at least the chart of the trade. RD says, can we see your screen set up? It's on another computer, RD. I did show it yesterday in the recordings. If you want me, I can send you some of those videos. And I'm sure I can turn the webcam on and do it a little bit later. But yeah, let me get in the zone. And if you're still around another hour, I'll be happy to show you my setup. Ricky says, hey team, what's going on, buddy? All right. So again, I'm gonna keep a pretty close eye on 3D. I do like this gap a lot. And there's the market open. So I'm gonna watch 3D pretty closely. And I'm gonna watch Tesla pretty closely to see what she ends up doing. And Twitter, I want to watch relatively closely as well, because I do like this kind of continuation on Twitter, depending on how it opens. Starbucks actually did not open well at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and immediately take Starbucks off the list. It didn't gap how I wanted to. And with a day like this, there's no need to do it. So I'm just going to add something else to the list. A lot of people are interested in CGC. So I will add that one to the list. That is a very good gap. CGC, good gap. So it's going to take the place of Starbucks. All right, so I'm going to scoot CGC up. Aldo says the market is open. Yes, you are absolutely correct. It certainly is. I knew Tesla was going to have one of those insane opens again. We're going to have to play Tesla on the 1 minute chart probably. I really don't want to take a pre-market break though of Tesla. I'd prefer another trade. That is a very pretty high wave candle, but I don't want to take a pre-market break. I'd rather get in lower. This is the daily chart. Would that be a $5 stop? Wow. Could Tesla move more than $5? Yes, it could. Again, I would like to get a little bit of a less expensive, less larger stop than that. So let me just see if Tesla will calm down. Again, it's not that I can't take it, and it's not that it's not bullish. It's just a really big risk reward, right? That's like a $5 stop loss. So I'm just trying to get something a little bit less large on Tesla. That's really it. All right, Twitter. Okay, I really do like this little candle on Twitter that's coming in. I'm gonna base it off this high wave right here. 3309, 3310, so this would be 3311. 3311, and by the way, I can already tell you, if we take a trade on Twitter, it's gonna be a really quick one. I'm either gonna be right or wrong very fast. All right, so again, kind of a nice little continuation, nice little pop. So what I'm gonna do is, again, the market's been open a whole 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit of, give it some time. Give it a second or two, let some candles come in, get a good frame of reference, and then rock it out. Again, I do like Tesla bullish, but I think I could get it a little bit cheaper than that. That's at least my hope. Maybe I can, maybe I can't, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to get Tesla in a little bit lower, if given the opportunity to. Micron, this is a 3-minute chart, nice high wave candle on Micron. That's pretty. That is nice. Again, I'm not in anything at all right now. I am creating my setups. I'm starting to look at what I want to track down and look at what I want to play. The market, my friends, has been open 3 minutes. All right. Sometimes I'll take a trade that fast. Yes, that is true. But it's a little on the rare side. Okay. So 3D printing is getting its retest on, and if it breaks down, I already know the setup that I want on 3D. So this is good because this is like a hedge for me. I'm in a long trade, and this is following my plan that I drew. So let me just increase that, and this is going to be a new official setup on 3D printing for right now. Okay, and I do like Beyond Meat to continue higher as well. New official day trade on DDD. So this means I'm looking to short it if it breaks below 1046, but not before. Right, that's a bearish stop limit. So I'm looking at getting in 3D printing bearish at 1046, but not until it gets to 1046. And the stop loss is 1068. It's a 22-cent risk. So let's see, stop price 1046 is happening as I'm typing it in, I think. High range 1068 and low range, I'll make it, I don't know, $10. Okay, that order is open. So I didn't get filled on the little flash down, but it is open right now. It definitely does not mean it's gonna work, but we will see. I'll let you all know if I get filled on 3D, but the order is open. Derek says, do I generally use a 3-minute chart? I use a 3-minute chart very often, Derek. You are correct. Very frequently. I love 3-minute, 2-minute, and 1-minute charts. Again, I'm not in on 3D, so it kind of flashed that 1046 as I was typing in that price. So depending on how it closes, I very well might adjust it and lower the entry just a penny or two. So again, not in on 3D. As I was typing in the price of 1046, it kind of wicked down and started bouncing, which again is good. Because it looks like I would have gotten stopped out if I was like 40 seconds faster on that particular trade. So let's do this then. Let's go ahead and adjust it. Just in case it breaks lower. Just in case. So let's do 1045 by 1069. And we might just have to cancel. It might just be a fade. Adjust the numbers on 3D. All right. So now give me one moment. Let me cancel that other order. Orders cancel. Okay. Canceling the order and I'm retyping it in. 1045 is my entry price. $10.45. My stop loss is 1069. So I'm adjusting everything by about a penny or two. Okay, and short. Wow, it looks like it's not going to short. Okay, cool. That's fine. If it keeps going higher, I'm just going to cancel it, is what I'm trying to get at. So if it keeps going higher, I'm just going to cancel it. I also like Twitter if it continues higher. I do like Tesla, but I want to get it lower. AMD, I'm going to wait on. CGC. Let me look at what CGC is doing. Yeah, CGC is hanging out. Beyond Meat, not yet. Roku, nothing exciting yet. Micron, beautiful high wave candle, and it is just breaking that high wave candle down. So that's kind of cool. You would not have gotten triggered in bullish. XLRN, this is the one I was talking about potentially fading. Let me see if it's even shortable first before I even worry too much about it. XLRN. It is shortable. Okay. So XLRN, I'm just going to keep on the list. 3M. Wow. So far, following Mr. Squiggles very well. So again, no trade on 3M yet. I'm just watching it to see what it does. McCormick. Wow, it looks like a lot of things are selling right now because that's most likely the E-minis and the market's kind of selling off a little bit. Harley Davidson is fading and Borge Warner is kind of just hanging out. Josh says, can you explain the Twitter setup? I don't have Twitter set up, Josh, at this particular moment in time. I'm waiting to see what it's going to do. I'm giving it a few moments. I will let you know if it's official, when it's official, and when I take this trade. Yep. But I am going to try to get in on a breakout higher. It'll be around 33.11 potentially. So let me just go back to 3D. All right, we can just cancel it. All right, never mind, guys. Cancel 3D. I'm happy it's bouncing because I'm in shares on a longer swing. So this was going to be like a hedge for me. So again, I'm quite happy that it's bouncing. I'm also very happy that we didn't get triggered into that trade. That would have sucked. I always say, oh yeah, it's really great if you lose in like 6 seconds. Sure, but it's not. All right, cool. Well, looks like we did gap down and that the moving averages are going to try and support the price of 3D a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just drop it and I'm going to keep hunting for something. I'm going to keep hunting. Twitter, I do like it, but it's just kind of selling off a little bit. I don't necessarily want to short something today, although I'm not going to be impatient. I'm not going to take something if I don't want it or like it. Tesla did pull back into this price. This is cool. All right. So let me pop here into a 1-minute chart on Tesla. Do I want to take a super aggressive trade on Tesla? Not really. Ron, I'll get to all those in just a moment. Again, if you're looking at or requesting new stocks, you're going to have to give me just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to kind of get a feed on what the market's doing. I promise I'll do my absolute best to look at anything and everything that you guys are checking out later today. So Beyond Meat is still an inside day. Okay. XLRN's a big gap up. Tesla is trying to pull back some. It's like I kind of want to wait on Tesla. CGC and Twitter might kind of be my two favorite, but it looks like CGC is already failing. All right. I have a trader says, are you using 3 moving averages and volume for day trading? I do use moving averages ever so often for day trades. Yep. And I love volume. You are correct. All right. So CGC has quickly made it to kind of like the top of my list right now for a particular trade. Let me just look at some of these 5-minute candles. Okay. Interesting. 2-minute candle looks pretty interesting. This is a nice little high wave candle. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is if it breaks above that candle and I can get a pullback, I'll probably go with a limit buy. I've definitely taken a trade on CGC not too long ago and then lost on it. Not that that can't happen again, and it very well could. I just don't want it to. Peter says on 3D, what would make you not short after the retest? It was just too much buying initially, Peter. Too much volume and too large of candles. Doesn't mean that it can't roll over and it won't go down. It's just that much volume coming in really, really early to me normally says wait to short. I don't really want to short into that much buying. I want to short into a little bit of weakness. I also don't want megalithlically massive candles to come in when I'm shorting either. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong and that I probably should short up here and it could roll over. All those things are possible. It's just all of this volume. I mean, look at the first 5-minute, this 5-minute candle. Huge volume. You have a higher low and it closed above all pre-market resistance. I mean, within seconds. So it's just like, I don't love it. I don't love it for a short. Again, folks, I'm still waiting right now. I do not have a trade open. I'm not in any day trade right now. I am waiting as patient as I possibly can on something. I do kind of like this setup on CGC. Let me see if it's too big to work. No, CGC could make a little bit of a bigger move than that. I have a feeling that it won't really do much today. Let me turn the extended hours off for a second. That's not bad. So the high of this candle is 22.80. The high of this candle is 22.79. So it'd be 22.81 by 22.21. And my question on this trade is just realistically, how far would it move? That's my big concern. Very nice high wave 15-minute chart. 15-minute candle, 2 minutes a little bit bearish. I really do like this hammer. If this thing can close bearish on a 2 or 3 minute chart, then I'm most likely going to give CGC a setup. So this is a 60-cent risk right here on CGC. Annie says, do you sometimes use VWAP? I sometimes use VWAP. You are correct. All right, so here's what I'm going to rock out. 22.81 stop limit with a stop loss at 22.21. The only thing I don't love about this particular trade is the fact that the 10 EMA on the daily chart could offer a little bit of resistance. So I'm not enamored by that. It's not like my absolute favorite thing in the world, but we'll see if that causes us an issue. Okay, so I'll throw that in there. So 22.81, this is a 60-cent risk. Right, pretty easy to calculate. And 833 shares, stop price 22.81. Again, I'm trying to get in as it goes higher. And then stop loss is 22.21, and I don't know, 23.40 would be a target. Okay. That order is ready to rock. It is open, and let's see what happens. So again, the 10 EMA on the daily chart is a little bit of a cause for worry, but if we can break through that, I won't be massively sad about it. 22.99 is the 10 EMA on the daily chart. Susan says, you pay attention to those as markets could change. Susan says, there are numbers coming in for the CB consumer confidence at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, which time? Long story short, no, I don't really pay attention to those. 7 o'clock market time. So you mean 2.5 hours ago? 7 a.m. Eastern? I mean, if so, it's already come out. So the news is already factored in. It's already here. So I guess I won't, I'm not specifically stressed about it, I guess is the answer to your question. All right, so here's what I would like for Canopy Growth to do. This is my preference. Again, we said 22.99 was the 10 EMA. So it doesn't seem like a very large gain, but I plan on taking, let's exit 10% of our position at the 10 EMA. 10 EMA on the daily. So again, it depends on your risk and how many shares you have. It will not be a large win. I get that, but that's just so I can remove a little bit of risk, and it makes my brain feel just a smidge better. So for me, it's I have 833 shares. I'm going to sell 83 of them at $22.99. That's pretty much it. I see. So let me move this over here. Let me move this over here. And if this trade works, Peter, you get a little bit of love, man, because you're the one that threw this one out in the chat pane. So again, I'm just looking at selling 10% of my position. It's up to you how big your position is. It's up to you on a lot of different factors. I'm just going to look to, since the 10 EMA is there, I figure why not just take a small little position off the table, and then I'll try to hold the rest for more. All right, so there's target one. Jim says he is in LAUR bullish. Nicely done, Jim. That's a gorgeous gap. Wow, not on earnings either. Clearing all those pivots, new all-time highs. What does this company do? Education. Let me throw this one on the list for Wednesday in the afternoon swing trading room, LAUR, so I can keep an eye on it. That's a beautiful gap, man. I'll be happy to put on the list for you. LAUR, and just kind of keep an eye on it, but I'm very happy you're in that, man. Well done. Ella says, should you short WIN? WINN. It doesn't have the most immaculate strength right now. You are correct. It gapped up and started fading down, which again is a little surprising. I would just wait on WIN personally. Doesn't mean that you can't make money shorting it. And it doesn't mean that you won't make money. I would just give that one a little bit of time. So give that one a little bit of breather. All right. So Canopy Growth, we took 10% off at $22.99. And so far the trade is working kind of nicely. So let's do another 10% at $22.45. And then I'll move the stop a little bit, and then we'll try to hold for a really big position. $22.45. If you have shares, take 10% off the remaining shares. If you have options, you can take off some of your options. Target 1 has been hit on CGC. This is target 2. Okay, let me just throw this in the worksheet really quick. Target 2. Which is 20. Again, I don't know if it's going to get up there. I hope it does, but I don't know for sure. So I'm looking at taking another, whatever your remaining balance is, however many shares you currently have, feel free to take 10% of that balance and exit it at 23.45. That's what I'm planning on doing right now. And then if that hits, I'll move my stop up a little bit and we'll try to hold for a lot more. Okay, so Twitter, TWTR, Twitter is hanging out. It's a nice little retest, so I'm gonna keep a very close eye on Twitter. Tesla, I'm just still waiting on Tesla. It's kind of extended, so I'm just giving a little bit of time. AMD, I do kind of like AMD, so I think I can keep an eye on that one. Beyond Meat, hanging out right now. Roku, also kind of hanging out. Micron. So most of the stock market gapped up and traded down, which is not massively surprising. Whew, XLRN, okay. This looks cute. That's the 2-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute. I mean, I might have already missed this trade. Let me just turn the extended hours on. Extended hours doesn't look bullish. Let me scoot XLRN up to the top. If this candle can close bullish right here, I think I'm gonna do this with half an R because it's a little bit of an aggressive entry, kind of. And we can always add to it later. And if it just absolutely, catapults lower, then hey, at least we're in some. So here's what I'm going to plan on doing on XLRN is I'm going to do a half an hour of risk on this particular trade, which is relatively rare, but we're already in one trade, right? It's not like we're losing on that particular trade. All right. New official day trade. I'm risking half an hour on this initial entry. Again, I rarely do it, but I am saying that I can always add to the position if I really need to. Half an hour for me is $250. So 8220 minus 7794 equals 426. So 250 divided by 426, only 58 shares. Not that much. So I'll round it up to 60. All right, so stop limit 77.94. 77.94, limit price 77.89. Short, okay. So that order is open, and the longer it trades sideways, the more I'll likely add a full R of risk to that position. But again, I'm already in one position and it's working, so I don't want to go and take another trade and lose more than we're currently winning, right? Charles says, which broker are you integrated with in TradingView? Oh man, that'd be so cool if I was integrated with a broker in TradingView, but I'm not. So I use Thinkorswim. It's being a little draggy today, but it's not too bad. Some of you are having challenges with it, but it's working okay for me. Daniel says, only be in one trade at a time when day trading? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Chris says, not interactive brokers. I do have an interactive brokers account, Chris. I'm just not using it at this exact moment for these exact trades. I love interactive brokers. Great platform. Great shorts. All right, so CGC coming all the way back. Let me see if I got filled at 23.45. I don't think I did. If we didn't, we're gonna have to move it up. Positions. Nope. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. How lame is that? That is lame sauce. 23.45 did not fill. Unbelievable. 23.45 target 2 on CGC did not fill, which means I need to increase it. That's normally what I like to do. So let me do this. I'll go ahead and take all this off. Right, we're already out of 10%. So far, the trade and the volume, I mean, I guess it looks as good as it can for right now. We're already up 7% on the day. So the question is, how much higher is CGC really going to go? Now the 10 EMA is at 23.06. So what I'm going to strive to do is see if we can get out of the rest of our position at 23.62 for right now. That'd be a nice little win. 23.62. Move this over here. Target to exit all. And that's what I'm going to put in right now. Okay, target to exit everything on CGC. Come in here. Target to exit everything on CGC. All right, let me go put that in the broker. Give me 1 second. Let me cancel this. 23.45 order just did not fill, which is lame sauce. All right, so limit, 23.62 limit. That's what I'm trying to achieve on CGC. Okay, XLRN is still open, has not triggered yet. So I'm trying to see if we can short it at 77.94, but the higher it goes, the more I'm gonna try to increase it. Let me go ahead and add to two stocks on the list that you guys are talking a lot about in the chat pane, LK. So LK so far did pretty much precisely what Mr. Squiggles drew. This is the trade higher, this is the rotation down, and this is the continuation. So if you guys got a chance to play that, well done. I mean, if I turn the extended hours on, you'll smile and go, man, that guy's good. Right? There's the break higher. There's the retest lower. There's the bounce. The puts sold on LK are doing pretty okay as well. They've already decreased a decent amount in value, although there's still 143% implied volatility. They've decreased about 60 cents, which is great. And again, I mean, if you did 10 contracts, you're already looking at, you've already paid for a quarter of real life trading on the year. For a whole year in one day, you've paid for a quarter of my service in 1 year with one trade. Come on, people. What are you doing over here? What are we doing? All right. CGC, come on. What are you doing? All right, let me draw Mr. Squiggles to figure out what I think CGC is going to most likely do. Trade down, retest, and then maybe bounce. So normally for me, I like to draw what I think a stock is going to do. So if it doesn't, I don't specifically freak out. At least I try not to. XLRN still hanging out. Twitter, I might have missed Twitter. What I want to do right now before I take another trade is lock in some gains. That's what I need to do, is I need to lock in a gain on CGC so I know where I'm at for the day. Right? That's the thing. So before I take another trade right now, since we've locked in a very, very small win, but we're not fully out, and I haven't really moved my stop to a spot where I want to, I need to wait. I don't want to be in too much risk. If you played Twitter continuation, cool. I'll see if I can get it later. Tesla actually looks really nice now with this setup. So Tesla is still a strong possibility to go higher. AMD just retested nicely. Beyond Meat is kind of boring. I think I can scoot Beyond Meat down. By the way, check out McCormick, the spices. Woo! Look at that fade. John Alonzo, I hope you got a chance to play that, man. Obviously, it did not fade anywhere near where I wanted it to fade. As you guys all see the purple line, I wanted it to fade down there. And I did not play McCormick. You all know that. But check out this gorgeous candle. Type in a 3 if you think you could have figured out how I would have faded that. Again, I didn't. But it's all about knowing why one would and where one would do something. So if I would have caught the fade, if I would have been focusing my attention on this trade, entry would have been there, stop would have been right there, high wave candle, 2 R's, I'm out. That would have been easy. The cool news is someone somewhere in the world took that exact trade. So congratulations. Yum China had a massive gap down recently and is trying to recover. Wow, that is beautiful. I do like Yum China long term, and I think you guys are absolutely right. We should put this on the list. I missed Yum China yesterday. Who can I make fun of for making me miss this trade right here? Look at that candle. Type in a 6 if that pattern looks a little bit similar. It looks a little similar. I don't do anything special when I trade, folks. I just see repeatable patterns all the time. That's what I do. I just look at the same things all the time and just play those.